There are roughly 35 million drivers over 70 in America right now, and data from insurance and highway safety sources shows that more than half of fatal crashes involving them are their own fault. Reflexes slow, vision changes, and reaction times stretch just enough to make everyday driving feel like a test you are no longer sure you can pass. Yet, life does not stop because your hands shake a little more or your neck does not turn as easily. You still need to get to the doctor, pick up groceries, attend church, and see the people you love. In California, where traffic never rests and the cost of living devours a Social Security check, every rideshare trip that costs around $16 feels less like convenience and more like punishment. You worry about scams, you hate depending on your children, and you are exhausted from gripping the steering wheel with white knuckles every time you merge onto a freeway. A new kind of autonomous vehicle promises to change that reality completely. Imagine a car with no steering wheel at all, more like a quiet living room on wheels, with lounge seating, soft ambient lighting, and a massive screen instead of a cluttered dashboard. This vehicle is designed to charge roughly 20 to 40 cents per mile, cutting transportation costs to a fraction of what they are today. Production is scheduled to begin in April of 2026 at a major manufacturing facility in Texas, and prototypes are already undergoing rigorous crash testing. This is not a distant concept or a limited pilot program. It is a full-scale rollout designed to solve real problems for real people, especially retirees trying to survive and still live with dignity in California. Money is where everything starts, because nothing else matters if you cannot afford to leave your home. The average California retiree lives on Social Security and maybe a small pension, adding up to around $2,500 per month. Housing alone often eats half of that. Food, utilities, and healthcare consume another large portion. What remains might be $400 for everything else, including transportation. Traditional car ownership is completely out of reach, costing well over $7,000 per year when you add insurance, maintenance, fuel, and registration. Rideshare services are not much better. At around $16 per ride, just 10 trips a month can cost $160. That's nearly half of what you have left after essentials, just to get around. The result is painful and familiar. You skip medical appointments, you stop visiting friends, you become isolated, not because you want to be alone, but because transportation has become financially impossible. Autonomous ride services change the math entirely. A typical 5-mile trip to the doctor or grocery store could cost as little as $1 to $2 at 20 to 40 cents per mile. 10 trips a month would cost $10 to $20 instead of $160. That means saving around $140 to $150 every single month, or roughly $1,800 per year. For someone on a fixed income, that difference is enormous. It is the difference between barely surviving and actually having a life, between eating the cheapest food available every night and occasionally buying something fresh and healthy, between staying home and seeing your grandchildren. Analyses of autonomous ride pricing have shown that these services can undercut human-driven rideshares by 75 to 90% per mile. There is no driver to pay, no expectation of tips, and no surge pricing when demand spikes. The price is consistent and predictable, which matters when every dollar is accounted for. Just as important as the savings is the independence. You no longer have to wait for your daughter to be free on the weekend. You no longer feel guilty asking neighbors for rides. You no longer have to choose between going to the doctor and buying groceries because you can only afford one trip this week. You keep control over your own life instead of watching it slowly shrink. California's environmental policies make this even more appealing. Zero-emission vehicles receive priority in certain lanes, which can mean faster trips during the worst traffic. For many older Californians who remember what the air was like before freeways became constant smog corridors, riding in a clean electric vehicle feels like a return to something better. Studies have shown that aligning daily habits with environmental values can improve well-being in seniors, especially those who have watched air quality decline over decades. Deployment is planned across California's major metro areas, including Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, and Sacramento. This is not limited to one small neighborhood or a carefully staged demonstration. As more vehicles join the fleet, wait times drop dramatically. Internal modeling suggests that once a critical mass is reached, average wait times in dense areas could fall below 3 minutes. That is often faster than finding your keys and backing out of your driveway. Transportation stops being a stressful obstacle and becomes invisible infrastructure that simply works when you need it. Inside the vehicle, everything is designed around clarity and ease. Instead of tiny buttons and cluttered screens that punish aging eyes, there is one massive display, measuring more than 20 inches across. Its brightness is high enough to remain clear even under California's harsh midday sun, so you can actually read it without squinting. The system processes information locally inside the vehicle rather than relying on constant cloud connections. That means your appointments, messages, and video calls stay private instead of being logged and potentially sold. Voice control is central to the experience, trained to understand natural speech patterns, pauses, and accents common among older adults. If arthritis makes touchscreens painful, you simply speak your destination and the car handles the rest. Because the car drives itself, your travel time becomes your own again. You can watch a show, talk to family, or simply relax instead of scanning mirrors and worrying about aggressive drivers. Research has shown that autonomous systems can reduce accidents caused by distraction far below human driver levels. Every pharmacy run or doctor visit becomes calmer and more productive instead of a nerve-wracking ordeal. Comfort matters just as much as technology. Decades of driving and sitting in poorly designed seats leave many seniors with chronic back pain. Traditional taxi and rideshare vehicles often have worn seats with no real support. The lounge seating in this autonomous vehicle is heated, deeply cushioned, and designed using principles borrowed from business-class airline seats. The recline angle is set to reduce pressure on the lower back, helping maintain the natural curve of the spine. Sensors adjust support automatically based on how you sit, providing relief exactly where you need it. Test data has shown significant reductions in physical fatigue compared to standard vehicles, even on longer rides. Entry and exit are also rethought. Heavy doors and low seats can make getting in and out of a car painful or even dangerous. Powered doors open smoothly with minimal effort, and the seat height is set so you can slide in naturally rather than dropping down or climbing up. The lighting inside adjusts throughout the day, using cooler tones in the morning and warmer tones in the evening to reduce stress and avoid disrupting sleep patterns. Safety is a central promise. Autonomous fleets have already documented dramatic reductions in serious injuries compared to human drivers. In a state where aggressive driving and dense traffic are normal, being able to relax instead of bracing for the next near miss is transformative. There is also peace of mind in knowing there is no human driver who might scam you, cancel on you, or behave unpredictably. Every vehicle is verified, tracked, and accountable. Storage is designed for real life, not just short trips. The trunk can easily handle groceries, medical equipment, walkers, or an overnight bag for visiting family. Durable materials resist spills and wear, and powered openings make loading easier. These details matter because independence is not just about getting from point A to point B, it's about living without constant compromise. This technology is not perfect, and honesty matters. Early users have reported occasional navigation questions when construction changes faster than maps update. Coverage will be strongest in urban and suburban areas, not remote rural regions. Connectivity can be an issue in certain enclosed spaces. These are inconveniences, not dangers, and they are improving with constant updates. When weighed against the very real risks of human-driven rideshares, including fraud and unsafe driving, the trade-off is clear. For seniors in California, this kind of autonomous transportation represents comfort, safety, independence, and affordability coming together at the right moment. Production begins in April of 2026, and deployment follows soon after. For millions who are tired of choosing between safety, dignity, and affordability, this is not just a new car, it is a way to keep living on your own terms.